This is 59-year-old Brian Lovell. Brian is in a little bit of trouble. Looks like this guy is facing 8 felony charges in a road rage shooting incident, and he was just recently indicted again after an alleged drive-by shooting at his brother-in-law's house. Oh, did I forget to mention that Brian is a sitting Oklahoma judge?
Begin with an Oklahoma judge in court, but on the opposite side of the bench.
He was there to face newly filed felony charges for allegedly shooting up his own brother-in-law's home. News 4's Amaya Ward went to Enid for today's hearing.
The judge entered a not guilty plea on behalf of Brian Lovell. His attorney telling me they plan to fight this case vigorously.
Can we all just take a moment to appreciate the fact that when summer starts ramping up, half of Oklahoma could take refuge from the heat under the generous shade of these massive eyelashes?
We intend to attack the jurisdiction and soundness of the indictment.
Now, come on. Leave a comment if you got some poltergeist vibes too. And be honest.
A multi-county grand jury indicting Garfield County Associate District Judge Brian Lovell Thursday on 2 felony counts for a drive-by shooting in February 2023. The alleged target, his own brother-in-law. We talked to him months after.
I had no idea that it could have been Brian Lovell.
Kenneth Marcus says his son saw an unfamiliar car moments before bullets began flying.
Garfield County Associate District Judge Brian Lovell was arraigned on Friday morning on charges related to a February 2023 drive-by shooting at the home of his brother-in-law near the town of Bison. Lovell didn't enter a plea on Friday, so the court entered a not guilty plea on his behalf. Lovell's attorney, Stephen Jones, filed a demand for a preliminary hearing, and the court set the hearing for 9 a.m. on August 30th. The bond was set at $25,000 with 3 conditions: that Lovell not possess any firearms, that he not live where there are firearms, and that he have no contact with his brother-in-law Kenneth Marks, Courtney Marks, or Jacob Marks. Lovell was indicted by a multi-county grand jury on 1 felony count of use of a vehicle to facilitate the discharge of a firearm and an alternative felony count of discharging a firearm into a dwelling. The indictment alleges that on February 12, 2023, Lovell fired a gun at the residence of his brother-in-law in Bison, and 2 days after the shooting, reported a firearm was stolen from his vehicle. According to the indictment, the punishment for the crimes is no less than 2 years in prison. But Lovell also faces 8 felony counts of deadly conduct with discharge of a firearm for a similar incident in Austin, Texas on September 11th of 2023, which was 7 months after the drive-by. Investigators allege that he used the same gun, a Glock 23 .40 caliber, in both the Texas and Oklahoma shootings. Apparently, nobody was injured in any of the incidents. A pretrial hearing for Lovell is scheduled in Texas for 9:15 a.m. on June 18th.
Seeing a person in a window and missing by a matter of inches is not just a random shooting.
Months later, investigators say the judge was involved in a road rage shooting in Austin, Texas, and casings from that incident matched the ones used in the drive-by shooting.
Garfield County District Judge Paul Woodward, presiding administrative judge, has said previously that Lovell agreed not to preside over any case until his own case is resolved. Apparently, Lovell was appointed special district judge in 2011 and elected associate district judge in January of 2023, right before the drive-by shooting incident, which if he did that, I'd say that's out of order. Now, Lovell's attorney said that the indictment was announced and that evidence is insufficient to convince any jury that Lovell committed the crime.
He was special judge about 10 years before that.
His attorney, Stephen Jones, who also represented Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh, won't comment on the case in Texas, but is standing by his client on the charges in Oklahoma.
It was a long time before the indictment was returned, and that bears on him and his family. But he's strong character, in my view.
He's innocent.
In Enid, Amaya Ward, Oklahoma's News 4.
All right, Amaya, we know you'll follow what Lovell is expected back in court sometime in August.
Lovell's attorney said, quote, he will ultimately plead not guilty to the indictment. As far as the merits of the charge and the defense, we do not at this time have the discovery material, which in due course will be made available to us. From our own investigation, the evidence is insufficient to convince a jury beyond a reasonable doubt, which is the standard, that he has committed any offense. We intend to defend the case vigorously, and during the course of the investigation, the judge and Mrs. Lovell have cooperated fully.
New drive-by shooting charges tonight for a Garfield County judge who's already charged with gun crimes in Texas.
This newest indictment alleges Lovell shot at his brother-in-law's house in Bison in February of last year. People were home at the time, but no one was hurt.
OSBI linked shell casings found at the scene of the Austin shooting to shell casings found in the Bison shooting, according to a November 2023 story by the Oklahoman. And check this out. In a search warrant affidavit filed November 1st, OSBI Special Agent Kevin Woodward said the shell casings were a match. The affidavit also detailed cell phone data OSBI was able to obtain that showed Lovell's whereabouts on February 12th. The data showed Lovell was near his church in Enid, then near several restaurants before it showed later that he drove back to his home. The shooting at the ranch happened before 3:30 p.m. that day.
Lovell reportedly told investigators he was at church during the February shooting. Investigators requested a search warrant for Lovell's GPS locations and attendance records from First United Methodist in Enid, where Lovell attends church. Taking a closer look at the timeline, Lovell arrived at church around 10 o'clock that Sunday morning. GPS shows Lovell then went to an area near several restaurants and back to his home in Wacomas, only 7 miles from his brother-in-law's house. The drive-by shooting happening around 3:30 that afternoon.
Jones told the Oklahoman in November that the records show the judge's innocence because his cell phone was not shown to be around his brother-in-law's ranch. Jones also said other experts might dispute the determination on the shell casings. On October 23rd, Garfield County Sheriff's Office confirmed authorities were investigating a report of a pistol stolen from Lovell's vehicle. The report was made 2 days after the drive-by shooting at the ranch of Kenneth Marks. Marks reported that somebody fired at least 5 times at his home on February 12, 2023, damaging a window, a wall, and an oven. A bullet and 5 .40 caliber shell casings were recovered. 2 days later, Lovell reported at Garfield County Courthouse that a .40 caliber pistol had been stolen from his pickup between January 28th and February 11th.
Morning, a Garfield County judge is now facing 8 felony counts after he was indicted in a Texas courtroom Friday for a road rage shooting. He shot at another driver after they cut him off. Court documents show the Oklahoma judge then rammed his SUV into the back of another vehicle several times. Garfield County officials told us in November Lovell was not currently handling any cases. He's due back in Texas court March 19th.
Now, back in Texas, a grand jury indicted Lovell on 8 felony counts of deadly conduct, which was the discharge of a firearm related to the incident from September 11th, 2023. According to an affidavit filed in the cases, the Austin Police Department responded to a call of shots fired at an intersection in Austin at about 4:09 p.m. on September 11th. The affidavit says a citizen reported a white male driving a white sport utility vehicle and had discharged a firearm approximately 5 times while driving down the street. According to the same affidavit, responding officers found several vehicles with bullet holes in them. The owner of one vehicle gave police permission to search the vehicle, and a projectile was recovered from the interior of the rear passenger side door. The cops said that he observed 5 other vehicles believed to have been shot in the immediate area. 3 .40 caliber shell casings were also recovered at the scene. Officers reviewed video recordings of a white SUV driving down the street, quote, as shots were heard in the videos. One witness described the driver as a white male wearing a baseball-style hat and gray shirt. While officers were investigating that incident, police received another call at 5:27 p.m. of a traffic incident about 1.7 miles from where the shots were fired. The affidavit says one of the vehicles involved in the collision was a white Toyota Highlander SUV. This SUV was driven by a white male wearing a baseball-style hat and gray shirt who is identified as Brian Noel Lovell by his Oklahoma driver's license. While speaking with Lovell, officers observed in plain view a firearm magazine in the driver's side door pocket of Lovell's SUV and a black firearm in the front passenger floorboard. The affidavit states, quote, Lovell advised he did not know why he would have shot his gun and he could not recall any part of the shooting incident. According to interviews with the witness and the victim of the collision, quote, it is believed that Lovell intentionally struck the other vehicle involved in the collision and engaged in a verbal argument with the other driver. The victim told police Lovell struck her vehicle, then struck it a second time after she had come to a stop at the intersection. Lovell told police the other driver cut him off in traffic and, quote, he rear-ended her vehicle. He also recalled rear-ending the vehicle a second time, but did not admit the collisions were intentional. So this judge is facing 8 felony gun charges and a charge for an alleged drive-by shooting, which could put him behind bars for the rest of his life.
Now, we went to his home today to ask him what happened.
Judge Lovell was at his home in Wacomas Wednesday when we knocked on his door.
I am Adria with News 4, and we're going to ask you a little bit about the situation that happened with us. Thank you.
He did not respond to our questions about the incident.
Leave your thoughts about this for the world in the comments below. Do you think Judge Brian Lovell actually committed these crimes? And if he did commit these crimes, do you think his judicial immunity will kick in and keep him out of jail? Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you want to support the channel further, grab a shirt, become a channel member, but more importantly, know what your rights are and stand for your rights. If you don't exercise those rights, you will lose them. I'll see you in the next video.